So, with Phantom Nightmare being the most anticipated set, in my opinion, there's going to be a lot of good archetypes coming out of it, and a new one is the Goblin Riders. I think this one's really cool because I played Goblin Attack Force Giant Orc Chain Saw Insect Skill Drain deck back in the day, so the deck was sweet, right? And this deck maybe not exactly like that at all in terms of strategy or archetype, but it is cool that we see some Goblin support. So let's go over it. So we have Goblin Rider Doug the Assaulter as our first monster warrior, level 3 Earth. You can only use each effect once per turn. If this card is in your hand, you can detach one XYZ material from a monster on the field, and if you do, special summon this card. If this card is normal or special summoned, you can add one Goblin Rider spell or trap from your deck to your hand. I think this card is sweet because actually with a lot of cards, we do want to detach an additional material off of our card. Like first thing that comes to mind is like the Theron rank 8, which actually doesn't detach, but it would be really useful for detaching because then you could summon like Regulus or the plant monster, just some things, like some niche things to think about. And then for the next one, we have Goblin Rider Boon, the Mach Speed. During your main phase, if this card is in your hand or graveyard, you can, quick effect. Alright, that's weird wording. You cannot special summon Goblin Rider Boon, the Max Speed, until the end of the next turn. Also detach one XYZ material from a monster on the field, and if you do, special summon this card. So this is actually pretty cool. I mean, you could trigger any graveyard effect, like off of your XYZ material. So say you have a Rhino, and this card's in your graveyard, you can detach the Rhino, summon this, send Farfa, iconically, if you know BA. And I think that's actually a pretty cool card, especially like anything with a graveyard effect. If this just said hand, obviously it gets a lot worse. It's saying graveyard, makes it a lot better. Level 3 wind, 1300. I'm liking the level 3s. I mean, wind-ups, Burning Abyss, level 3s are kind of sweet. Goblin Rider, Mianda, the Cold-Blooded. Fiend, Fiend action here. We definitely love to see Fiends. I mean, obviously for Nobles, we love the Warrior mindset. You can only use the first and second effect once per turn. If this card is normal or special summoned, you can special summon one Goblin monster from your hand, except himself. If this card is in your graveyard, you can detach one XYZ material from a monster on the field, and if you do, special summon this card, but banish it when it leaves the field. So a bit of recursion, and it's also Marauding Captain as well. We love to see more Marauding Captains. We love to see level 3s. We love to see a lot of this. So I think it's actually pretty cool that it will come back. I mean, I also think graveyard effects are very special, especially in combination with archetype like Diabellstar, which I've just been fiending for more graveyard effects to be good with this archetype. Or even the Horus archetype is really good with graveyard effects. Goblin Rider Clutter the Noisy. Alright, calm down. Level 3 fire, so we basically have every attribute so far. Dark, wind, water, earth. Basically the Avatar elements. Fire, wind, earth, water. Let's go. Avatar the Last Airbender, represent. Goblin Rider, Clutter the Noisy. You can only use each effect once per turn. If this card is normal or special summoned, you can target one Goblin monster in your graveyard except himself. Special summon it. That's kind of broken, especially since it's normal or special. You're really going to be... This deck seems like you could easily Link climb or even like just XYZ climb. Another interesting thing about this card is it's not only fire, but it's Beast Warrior, so you can Tenki it. During your opponent's main phase, if this card is in your graveyard, quick effect, you can detach one XYZ material from a monster on the field, and if you do special summon it, but banish it when it leaves the field. So basically like the last one's graveyard effect, except maybe better, because you can do it during your opponent's main phase as a quick effect. Just like I said, detach Fiendish Rhino Warrior, activate some effects during your opponent's turn. Lots of interruptions, maybe make an IP Masquerade. What's up? We got the rank 3 XYZ Beast Warrior Light Monster, 2100 attack, 0 defense. 2 level 3 monsters, you can only use each effect. We have 3 effects once per turn. If this card is XYZ summoned, you can add 1 Goblin monster from your deck to your hand. If an XYZ monster is detached from monsters on the field, you can target one other face-up monster on the field, attach it to this card as a material. This card's already broken. I mean, just like in combination with the other card, we could maybe get like 2 interruptions. We could take a monster, make it a material, and then also get a graveyard effect off of whatever we detach. We love that. During each end phase, you can attach 1 Goblin monster from your deck to this card as a material. Okay, so that's pretty sweet. It sucks it's during the end phase, so we can't actually use the, like, say the water one to detach and then get the quick effect interruption during your main phase or during your opponent's main phase for the graveyard for your opponent's turn. That's the only thing that sucks, but I mean 3 effects on a monster is pretty good. Goblin's crazy beast. Fiend rank 6 dark, 2 level 6 monsters. Oh, I can't wait to see what this does. You can only use the 3rd effect of this card's name once per duel. Once per duel, that might be good. Once per turn, quick effect, you can target 1 spell or trap on the field. Detach 2 XYZ materials from monsters on the field, and if you do, attach that card to this card as a material. Wow. So that's interesting. So once per turn, you can target 1 spell trap card on the field, detach 2 XYZ materials from monsters on the field. So I'm assuming maybe there's spell traps that are broken when they're materials. That could be good with this guy because, I mean, versus your opponent, that would really only be good versus, like, say, a continuous spell, maybe a field spell as an interrupt. It would definitely block it, like an MST. Second effect, if a monster you control would be destroyed by a card effect, you can detach 1 material from this card instead, so a little protection out here. If this card is in your graveyard, you can special summon it, then you can attach 1 Goblin monster from your graveyard to it as a material. So basically we could link this off, and then after that we could special summon it and attach a Goblin monster from your graveyard to it as a material. Especially with SP Little Knight, having anything that's an extra deck monster is really good in that capacity. So I definitely think that card's good. Now we're on to the spells. Grand Meeting of the Goblin Riders. You can only use the 3rd effect of this card's name once per turn. First effect, Goblin monsters you control gain 300 attack for each Goblin monster you control. Alright, we might be gaining a lot of attack if we can spam a lot of Goblin monsters. It definitely seems like the deck is capable of doing so. During your main phase, you can normal summon 1 Goblin monster in addition to your normal summoner set. Both effects definitely not that strong so far. You can only gain this effect once per turn. You can target 2 Goblin monsters you control that have a level to activate one of these effects. The level of one of them becomes the level of the other. Their levels become the total original levels. Okay, so basically you can make 2 level 6, then make a rank 6. Or if you had a level 6, I guess, you can make 1 level 6 instead so that you don't have the totals 9. But it is pretty cool. You can make the total being 9 and then make a rank 9 maybe if they have a level 6 monster. We haven't seen that though. But maybe in the future I could predict them having like higher level monsters, level 4, level 6, basically. And then you could make like a rank 7, rank 8, depending on if it's level 5 or 6. So, I mean, that's crazy. We're getting a lot of levels. We're getting into math, and that's really hard. Grand Arrival of the Goblin Riders. Normal spell, you can only use the 1st and 2nd effect of this card's name each once per turn. Add 1 Goblin monster from your deck to your hand. Then you can detach 1 XYZ material from a monster on the field. And if you do special summon 1 level 4, it says level 4, even though we just saw a bunch of level 3s, we can actually special level 4s. Or lower Goblin monster from your hand. Okay, and also I just realized too, the whole Goblin attack force archetype, I mean, those are all goblins. We could special those. I would have to go back and look at all of them to see if there's level 6s and shit. But yo, we could actually make a rank 4s in this deck as well with the old goblins. Now they're pretty bad monsters with no effects and that basically just changed themselves to defense position. Unless there's some I haven't actually researched. But I'm just reading cards as we go. So, you know, on to the 2nd effect. You can banish this card from your graveyard, detach 1 XYZ material from a monster on the field. Then you can add 1 Goblin monster from your graveyard to your hand. I actually think that 2nd effect is pretty good recursion-wise. But I mean, just being a Rhoda and then already having a monster that adds the spell, I mean, that's really good in my opinion. This deck's actually not seeming that bad. Might be something to consider. Goblin Rider Stampede, the continuous trap. You can only use each effect of this card's name once per turn. During the main phase, you can immediately after this effect resolves XYZ summon using only goblin monsters you control as a material. That's kind of really good, I would say, especially if you could search this as a one-off trap, because obviously our monsters are going to be detaching and specialing themselves, and then we can make a rank 3 again, or any rank, and it's all really generic. Like, although you have to use goblin monsters, you can make any XYZ you want, and that could definitely be pretty broken. Now, it would be awesome if it says you could activate one effect of a XYZ monster you control. I've been waiting for a card like that, because then maybe we could Gigantic Sprite on our opponent's turn, and now no one can special summon monsters besides level 2. We just floodgated them, but we have yet to see that. So the second effect, if you control a Goblin XYZ monster, you can target one effect monster on the field, detach one XYZ material from a monster on the field, and if you do, negate that target's effects until the end of the turn. So, I mean, that's actually pretty good just as a bonus. Imperm along with the detaching, I think is actually going to be relevant. Maybe detaching too much might be a hindrance for this deck, but I just don't see how that could be possible. Okay, so actually, to my surprise, the Goblin archetype is pretty fierce in cards. I just added like every Goblin card, and like we have 31. That's insane. I mean, I thought Goblin cards were a big deal, but I didn't think there was this many. So we have a level 4 Goblin. Effect sucks. Level 4 Goblin. You can return one normal monster to your hand to the bottom deck during your end phase to draw one card. Alright, this card sucks. This is an OCG card, and it's kind of relevant, actually, I would say, because it is a level 5, and, level 5 could be relevant if you wanted to make a rank 5 with that trap card. The iconic Goblin attack force, Goblin Black Ops 3, because Black Ops 2 sucks. Just kidding. If this pretty much does nothing. Level 1 Goblin Calligrapher. It's level 1 normal spell. But I guess you could add the Goblin Spell and Trap, right? Okay, so I just confirmed you cannot do that because those cards say Goblin Attack Force. So it's actually, you're not able to add, like, say, an Upstart Goblin with the monster that adds a Goblin spell. Because it's actually just the archetype specifically. But we did see with some of those monsters, they do just say Goblin. So it is important to know. This one is also iconic, Goblin King. If you remember FTKs back in the day, let me know. This card was really cool, especially with the DS game. I used this card a lot. He was so broken. Goblin Marauding Squad. When this card declares an attack, if this card attacks, is changed to... Alright, so it does nothing. When this card is summoned, trap cards cannot be activated. Also, trap holes cannot be activated. Oh my god, these cards are so awful. Goblin Zombie is the one I'm waiting for. I'm keeping my eye on. Goblin Recon Squad. If this card successfully attacks, oh my god. If it is spell summoned to the graveyard, oh my god. All these cards require you attacking. Not Goblin Zombie though. Goblin Zombie just adds a card to your deck, from your deck to your hand when it's sent to from the field to the graveyard. Broken Cube card, obviously. It's also interesting because it's an old card and it's an if effect when it's sent to the graveyard. Most of them are whens. I think Pyramid Turtle even is a when effect, but that's when it's destroyed by battle. So. And then we have a OCG card as well, Memento Goblin. During your main phase, if you control, that's a word that looks like tequila, the Nether Skull Dragon. Quick effect, you can discard this card. Your opponent cannot target Memento monsters you control with this card effects. During your main phase, you can destroy one Memento monster you control, and if you do, send up to 2 Memento cards with different names from your deck to the graveyard. Oh well. Yeah, so basically, I think all of these Goblin cards kind of suck, besides Goblin Zombie. But I just wanted to show you a little bit of the Goblin action that already exists. It's funny that I mentioned Giant Orc, and in this Goblin picture, there's actually a Giant Orc. I would love to know the Goblin lore. I'm sure there's like 20,000 fucking shorts you could see it. But that's all from me. I hope you enjoyed the video, and have a great one, Duelist. Peace.